Morning guys. So after yesterday's afternoon where I was planning to be at home and I ended up getting called to work, I'm going in a little bit late today, so I'm still at home in time to have brunch before I leave. It's about 10:30. I'm gonna have brunch now, which means I won't need eating again until later. Got some bacon cooking here and we're gonna keep that fat. I've got a special use for that fat over the next few days. Gonna have that on some sourdough with a couple of bantam eggs. So that's a brunch taken care of. And then hopefully tonight we're going to cook a load of our crayfish and have that with some pasta, maybe some ham. Really looking forward to that. Not tonight, but I've got far too many crayfish for one meal. So once I've cooked them all this evening, we'll save some of the meat. We'll actually de-shell it all, put that to one side, and then I will fry that off for another meal in that bacon fat. And that's going to be special. Okay, so I am on my way now to pick up my son from an after-school club. My wife and I, we share the duties on that. I think my wife might disagree. I don't know, really. I think we do a fairly good job of splitting that 50-50. That's not to say she doesn't do more than me, but she travels that way home from work anyway. So anything outside of that, I think we split pretty much down the middle. But like I say, she might disagree. I won't know until she watches this video. But I'm going to pick up my son from school, and that means I'm not going to get home till about 5 o'clock. So that has actually scuppered my plans for the crayfish. Well, I say it's that. There's two reasons why I'm putting the crayfish off yet again. And one is that. The other is because I've just got far too much in the fridge that I've already cooked that needs eating up, and I don't want to go to waste. So I've got a fair amount of that chicken left over, which I think I'm going to freeze because there's another 2 or 3 meals there for one person. But I've also got quite a lot of ham. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook the ham with some pasta and a salad and a cheesy sauce. So almost like a carbonara. That's the plan. I'd use a different cheese normally than goat's cheese if I was going to make a regular carbonara for my family, but what I have access to is my goat's cheese, so that's what we're going with. So as we all go here, my wife's preparing dinner for the rest of my family. We're all having similar stuff. We're all having pasta. That's the tagliatelle for the rest of my family. In here I've fried off some ham with some onions and garlic. Really, really simple. And over here I've been rolling out my pasta, which as you can see is a beautiful square shape, ready for me to cut it. So apart from the shape, I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with how thin I've got it, which apparently can be quite a challenge. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. So I'm gonna slice that into linguine strips. I'm gonna boil that, and then to here, all I'm gonna add really simply is just some goat's milk. I'm gonna bring that up to a really light simmer, then I'm gonna add some flour to thicken it, and then some goat's cheese. That's it. That's the entirety of the recipe. Just before I serve it, I will also add a load of basil. Here's the goat's cheese, and here's the basil. I was very, very lucky. My wife had already gone and harvested a load of basil from the garden and chopped it, and chopped too much, and said, yeah, use that, it's there. So it saved me a job. So the next time you see this, it'll be on a plate, I suspect. Okay, so I lied. You're gonna see it once more before it's on the plate. Because here it is, it's looking really good. It's looking much better than I was expecting, actually. All that's missing is the basil, which we're going to put in next. Here's the pasta, and here's the salad that we're having with it. We're also having a bit of sourdough, which is in the oven. For the salad, really, really simply, it's just cos lettuce with some cucumber, and on top there, some of our Egyptian walking onions, the greens, which work exactly the same as spring onions. They're really, really good like that. So, I'm gonna add the basil, strain the pasta, mix it all together, and then dish up. Someone mentioned, you know who you are, Shannon, I think he actually asked us a question. Have you got any tips on how to keep your kitchen tidy? Because we had a bit of a conversation. He said, well, it always looks so clean. Well, this is the truth of it. When I finish cooking, it's not always looking very clean. And that's not my ketchup or my olive oil that's being used here. That was for the kids' dinner. So here it is, and hopefully it tastes as good as it looks. So the only thing this is missing from what I would normally use, or there's a few substitutions actually. So there's substitutions first, so let's talk about that. Normally outside September, I'd use a regular cow's cheese, like a cheddar or something, to help me with that sauce. And I'd probably put Parmesan on the top if I was doing something for guests. In addition to that, I'd obviously use shop-bought pasta. So those are two things that are slightly different to usual. With regards to the salad, I might put a bit of balsamic vinegar on it, which is not here now, but I don't think it's going to miss that. I'm okay with that. I could always put a different dressing on it if I wanted, like the rhubarb reduction and the apple cider vinegar, which I have been using on a lot of my salads this month. With regards to flavors, I haven't put any salt in here. I'm relying on the saltiness that's in the ham to deliver that for me. And over the course of the month, I'm needing a lot less salt in my food. So hopefully that's going to be enough. And I haven't put any pepper in. I would normally put quite a bit of black pepper and probably a teaspoon of mustard in this as well. And that's about it. I've run out of butter again, so I'm on to dripping for the top of my toast. But other than that, I think this is a pretty close to a meal we'd have the rest of the year. Those are the changes. So let's see how it tastes. That's a real success. Super, super, super happy with that. As usual, this is dinner time. This is my last meal of the day. So after this, it'll be milk and honey for my sort of evening drink / pudding. And I have to say, I'm really looking forward to this. I've got enough of the ham and sauce left over to do another meal. I've used up all of the pasta that I've rolled out, but I've only rolled out maybe a quarter of what I've made. So I'm thrilled. I'm over the moon. This has gone way better than I was expecting. So I've just finished tea and I've just stepped outside to do this little bit of filming because it's quite busy in the kitchen. And I wanted to say, in wrapping this video up, that was absolutely phenomenal. It was absolutely delicious. I enjoyed that as much as I can remember enjoying any dinner for a very long time, not just during this challenge. But there's been, a couple of real superstars of this month, one of which we all probably know, the pork griot, and that one for sure. It was just absolutely delicious. And if I had to make it again, I wouldn't change a thing. Which brings me on to another slightly different topic. And that is that I have in the works basically a recipe book that's going to cover everything that I've done this month in the works, and that should be available at some time this year, this calendar year. I'm not sure how long it will take, but it will be an ebook, and patrons to Self-Sufficient Hub will get that for absolutely free. So I know that I don't really mention my Patreon account here very often. I don't know why that is. I mention it on the podcast every episode, but for some reason I associate that with the podcast more than the videos. But if you would like to become a patron, please do consider doing that. It's a fantastic way to help support what I'm doing here, not only on YouTube, but also the podcasts and everything else. So please do consider that by going to patreon.com/self-sufficient hub. And of course, if you are a patron at the time that the ebook gets released, and I've mentioned in the past on the podcast as well, that if you're a patron at any point when I kind of release anything that will be chargeable, you will qualify for it for free. At least that's how it stands at the moment. Who knows where we'll be in the future. But as of right now, anything I release that is chargeable, you will get for free as a patron. So like I say, please do consider supporting me that way. So getting back to this recipe then, and I think a part of the reason why I enjoyed it so much was because my tastes must be changing. I didn't miss any salt. I would definitely have added some salt to that. I would definitely have added some pepper to that. I didn't miss either of those seasonings, and that's becoming a trend. So I was really worried that I wasn't going to have enough salt to make it through this challenge. So I made an extra trip to the coast just to be sure and collected what I needed, but I haven't had to make it. And my consumption of salt has really dove off a cliff over the last week. I find myself reaching for it less and less,
When I make potatoes, I add the tiniest piece of salt, but that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else that I'm adding it to at the moment. So that just goes to show how quickly our tastes can adapt and change to a simpler diet. And even though I think I'm doing really well with the food that I do have available to me, and I think I'm being quite inventive and quite resourceful with the different ways I can use ingredients to still come up with what I think is a lovely, really impactful, tasteful, varied diet, it's definitely simpler than the ingredients I'd usually be cooking with. And I think the fact that I'm using less and less salt, and I'm not craving it at all really, is testament to how our palates can adapt. So there you go. That's going to wrap up this video. As always, thanks ever so much for watching. Please do leave me a comment down below. Make sure you like this video as well. You just press that thumbs up. You can do that right now. Costs you nothing, but it does help me to grow this channel. Believe it or not, YouTube cares about these things a great deal. Also, make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Cheers.
Are you being serious?
So here it is.